Let's no longer waste time. Let's podcast season 2.
Dose.
That's right. And so a lot's changed since season 1.
Yes.
For one thing, we now have video, which I fucking hate.
You hate it.
Yeah, I don't like the video. But we're doing it on Zoom because we're no longer together in an office. That's also something that's changed. And we figured if we're going to do it remotely, we might as well just make video. So that's the easiest way to do it.
What hasn't changed is our love of hats.
This is the thing too. Like, dude, we look like we're in dorm rooms.
I look like we're totally in dorm rooms.
This is my home office.
Yeah.
Like I'm an adult and this isn't like I have a son. Like this is my space at home.
Yes.
But I mean,
we might have the same couple hats back.
I'm sure we do.
Our viewers will be like, wait a second, there's a couple. Because there's been a couple hats where you and I were on in Victory Lane. We're about to woo. And then
that's right.
Your hat. Yeah.
I got those pictures over there. I'm not going to turn around because I think it's messy.
No,
yeah. So I don't like this. I don't like staring at myself. I haven't seen you yet. I don't even know what you look like because there you are. All I do is fixate on myself and just look at it. Like I need a haircut and I hate how badly I need a haircut and how self-conscious I am about that. And you know what sucks is like everyone will always tell me, I'm almost 50 and they'll say, you should just be happy that you still have hair. Like you have a full head of hair. You should be happy. And that I get it. Right. But that doesn't mean that I enjoy looking like a Muppet. Right. Like just because you have hair doesn't mean that you're not allowed to make it look good. Right.
There's a lot of bad hairstyles out there with people that should be fortunate to have that. Is that where the bar is? Like,
what do you mean?
Whereas like at our age, I'm 51 for everyone. I get the same thing, but I feel like I'm sort of losing my hair a little bit slowly. That's a share. But at the same time, it's like, well, you have teeth. Is that where we are?
Right.
Like that's where we are in the bar. Like,
does that mean well, what do you care how many cavities you have? Why do you brush them every day? Just be happy you have teeth.
You can still wear pants. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's where the bar's set. Right.
Like and it just drives me insane. We're just like, man, I hate my hair. At least you still have hair.
But you still look the same though. You don't look like this anything's aged you or the P word.
Yeah.
Pandemic.
No, you look good too.
Thanks.
Yeah. I miss you.
I miss you too.
I know. Hey, let's hug it out. Let's just turn this off and catch up.
Yeah.
So we did like John and I did zero catching up because we knew that there was going to be a lot of juicy material. If you're new to the podcast and new to the world, there's been what's it called? Global pandemic.
Yeah, that's what they're referring to it now as.
Since last we spoke, so there's been a lot of changes in our lives. But we talked about, do we just do a catch-up show? But we both agree that no one gives a fuck what we're up to. So
zero.
We decided to just jump right in, right? And if you listened last season, and I'm sure the only people listening did, right? Because it's our, family and close friends.
And that guy from New Zealand. There were a couple people
that's right.
like in New Zealand where I was like, how did we get? We're like, we're big and shod.
Because if you look, dude, we did 30 hours worth of stuff. We did a
lot.
Like we're going to repeat everything. It's just like we're going to finish season 2 and realize that it was just season 1 in different order. Like we're going to cover the same topics.
We'll be like, oh God, we have a producer now though,
yes.
Which is big.
We have a producer who's going to basically just take this recording and maybe put an art card up front.
We have a sponsor. Yes.
We'll have to plug. When do we plug that? Like the halfway mark?
When do they usually do that? The beginning?
I don't know.
It's usually at the beginning, the podcast that I've heard. So if you want to do the spot.
Oh, like it's sponsored by?
Yeah.
Let's work it in. Do you want to work it in organically?
Yeah, but just let me know because I gotta get ready. I have to do the song.
But that's not organic. I mean, like spontaneity has its time and its place.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is just work it in.
All right, we'll talk about a format and then we can just get going.
So our format, again, if you listen last time, John and I are basically experts on everything.
Yep.
And so we have asked a lot of people. I've asked friends. I've gotten text messages. We've gotten people around the office to basically just write a topic on a piece of paper. I put it in a hat and we pick it. And that's where we start.
Then
Maybe it's where we end. I don't think it's ever happened yet.
No.
But we'll discuss what this is, and then we'll go from there.
We have opinions. We do not lack opinion. So
we definitely have opinions. We have thoughts.
Yeah.
This whole thing is about thoughts. Our thoughts.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Let's get to it. Here we go.
First
one. Season 2.
First one. Yeah, we're not doing this one. I'm not even telling you what it said because I know I know why it's in here, and I know that's a joke, and we're just not doing it. So even if I even talked about what it was, it would flag something, and it would have.
John is already doing the one thing he said he'd never do. We're going to talk about whatever we see. We're never going to edit this thing. We've never edited one.
Oh, no. There's for sure no editing.
But you have now skipped one. And it was probably like butt plug or something like that.
Let's just say, and I know exactly who threw this into the mix. Let's just say that there was a girl that we grew up with who might have lost her virginity in 7th grade, maybe 8th grade. And about 5 guys who we grew up with who also lost their virginity in 7th or 8th grade. So if you connect those dots, you will see what we're not talking about. Anyway, great start.
I still don't know what he's talking about. I just camera 2'd you. Like, I don't know.
What's that?
Keep going.
All right, let's see. This one, yeah, we can do this one. Body wash.
Oh,
body wash. We can talk body wash.
Yeah.
Do you use body wash?
Do I? Yes, I do. And I use soap. And I have a lot of products I use in the shower because one, I like showering.
What?
I like showering.
Okay.
I like showering. I've always enjoyed bathing because it was the one thing when I was super poor that was free. And if you ever follow David Sedaris when he was unemployed, he always said, a day is a bunch of units of time. And how you get through the day is you use up units of time. Bathing can use up, say you have 8 units of time. Bathing can use up a whole unit of time, and it's free basically if you're renting a house. So
I was gonna say it's not free, but yeah,
it's free. It's free. If
it's
you're
not
renting.
Expensive.
No,
it's just not free.
That's why I don't understand why some people that are, say, struggling or like struggling artists or college students or something, when they know and it's cool not to bathe, I'd be like, why not? It's free, and it's you could just do it. Takes up some time, and you can sing in the shower. Anyway,
do you sing in the shower out loud?
No.
Okay.
No, I think
I don't think I ever have, even when I'm alone.
Sing?
Never.
No. I sing in the car.
I do too, but I sing in the car like with the music, and it's usually really loud. I don't just have no.
Here's another thing. I have a cat that will.
Oh, that's amazing.
Jumping up. Yep. Okay.
That's so good.
Okay, Daddy's podcasting.
I'll tell you why. One of the reasons why I hate video is because first of all,
say one reason why I hate cats.
It's just they're very disruptive. They're very they're selfish, very disruptive. I just don't like, we're inviting people like into our homes, clients, strangers, when we do these video meetings, and just shit like that happens, right? And like I remember once, and we almost got into trouble. A client of ours and we were texting while we were having a big group meeting, right? So he and I were texting each other on the side. We were sidebarring. And we saw this one woman come up, and it just, I don't know, she just had this look. And I texted them and I said, how long before a cat walks across the camera? Right. And I said that whoever this person's name was. And he wrote back, he said, there's no way it takes more than 5 minutes. And like, while it was coming across, a cat just walked across. And we were laughing so hard, like, and then you can't hide that.
You can't hide that.
Yeah, you can't because, like, if people, I mean, you're not going to see me on audio, but people who look down are just going to say,
right,
like,
right,
like, and I'm like hurting myself, I'm like pinching myself, thinking of dead babies, like just anything to get off that, because it you can't do that in a meeting.
No, like it's funny because this has changed the world for the good and for the it's so odd because you are in people's homes. I look in the background now, not in the foreground. I'm like looking at what they got going on. I was in a meeting and this woman that was a project manager had all of these stuffed animals, like as many hats as you have. She had stuffed animals. I had her at about 30 some years old. She's in this room. It's a lot of all white. I'm building a picture for you here. It's all like a lot big white room, but stuffed animals everywhere. And I said, because I shouldn't have thought about it a little bit more, hey, are you like in your kid's room? And she said, no, I'm in my room. And then everyone looked at me like, oh, how are you going to dig out of this? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I just see a lot of stuffed animals. And she's like, yeah, I collect them. And I was like, that's cool. You know, I literally didn't know how to dig out of it by going, but for her perspective, she was probably like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
You know, this is good.
That's what's crazy too, is like, yeah, you get people who are clearly in an office, you get the clearly conference room person. You get this where there's just a shit show behind you of like hats, stuffed animals, spoons, jellies, like what, you know, like whatever anyone has going on at their place.
Right.
And then you get the random, like, look, I'm standing in front of the Colosseum in Rome. Like I'm in outer space, you know, like yeah, like I hate the filters. Like just take the filter off, man. Like you can't find a white wall wherever you are. You can't find a white wall. Seriously.
What about the white wall? What about the people that are in rooms that look like they're stark and they look like they're like waterboarding people in those rooms? There's like nothing in the room. And you're like, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm in my home office. It's like not one thing on the walls, nothing. I mean, it's a sterile environment. And he's like, yeah, I'm in my home office. I was like, oh, okay.
Our producer, his home office is his unfinished basement. Oh, and so yeah, every time, and like there's like half of a hot water heater in the background and like it looks like rope on the wall or some like, right?
Well, he's got kids. I said when we were like running through this, I was like, where are you? And what kind of information are you getting from people out of that thing? And he goes, what? Like, what?
Yeah, like it looks, and like you even said, like what would we do if we're talking and all of a sudden just this guy with like the old school mob choke rope, like turned the corner and started coming up behind him. Like, you know, like what do you do? Yeah.
What I love about your background is behind there are a bunch of those medals for running marathons and stuff.
No, surely
those
not.
Aren't yours. Right?
No, those are racing hard cards.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I was gonna say
from here, I was like, when did you get into like 5Ks?
No, like it would be more believable if I told you that was Pentagon clearance badges.
Yeah.
Than I would have been marathon.
Because I was thinking, okay, well then maybe your wife was doing that. But because I was looking at it and I was like, wait a second. No. He's been holding out on me that he's exercising.
No, I haven't. Okay. Believe it or not, that hasn't changed. I haven't been exercising. I haven't been exercising. Like I my normal routine is what do we want to call it? Slightly below average. So I don't do nothing, but the doctor would probably tell me to do more. Mm-hmm. But you know, I'll get on a bike 2 times a week, maybe.
But you're built for the pandemic. You guys were built for this.
Oh yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
Because you went from 0 to hero in one lockdown. You went from like we're just hanging out on the couch and eating chips and whatever, and people are looking at you like, you could be doing more.
Yeah,
it's like
lazy fucks.
And all of a sudden you're doing your part.
That's right.
Keeping everyone healthy.
I have
and you haven't changed anything. You haven't changed any behavior.
I feel so bad, right? Because like obviously I would not wish a pandemic on anybody, right? It's not like, you know, I'm doing great and I don't care. If it were my choice, never would have happened, will never happen again. I understand the economic, psychological, I understand what it's doing, right? But my wife and I have been practicing for quarantine for like decades. Literally.
You're good because
Yeah, like you said, like we spend most of the time just hanging on the couch watching TV. We don't like people very much. We
Yeah.
don't go out. We usually avoid crowds. Sometimes we, even when we go on a date, we'll just find the corner of a bar and just sit there. It's all for us. Dates are really just change of scenery. They're not like
room.
groups, or they're not like meeting
Right.
people. It's just we want to look at different walls. That's why
Right.
we go out on dates. We do the same thing we do at home, literally. Like we'll sit at the bar, order a beer, appetizer, game on the TV, right? So when this first started happening and things were shutting down, like we basically did the same thing we did every night, but we just didn't feel guilty. Like all of a sudden, we were like really good at doing our part for, it's like you said, we went from zero to hero. We went from like lazy, reclusive, fuck those guys. What are they? They don't like hanging out with us.
So unhealthy. They should be CrossFitting. And now you're like, no, we're doing our part. We knew this was coming. We're built for speed here.
Like we tell like, we should go out this, but we should really avoid restaurants and bars and plays and public spaces, sporting events, music. But like we just, it's, well, I mean, we missed it a little bit. Right. But, and we still took what we call reasonable risks. Right. Like, we didn't just go into crowds for the sake of going in the crowds, but after a couple of weeks, we'd be like, let's like what we do is like, let's go to a brewery. If it's crowded, we'll get beer to go. And if we feel safe, we'll stay and drink. Like, so that would be our decision when we were in the car going there.
Right. I just hate how, and we'll skate through this quickly, hopefully. I just hate how this whole thing's been sort of politicized in a way that even if you have any opinion one way or the other, it means what political party you're in, because I'm sort of in the middle of it where I just try to be a reasonable person.
Yes.
I was at a brewery, like the same thing as you. I went to a brewery and sat outside. This is sort of, the brewery opened, there was no inside seating, but everyone could sit outside. And there was a community table. Again, we're outside, community table, and there were 4 people. And my friend and I came up, and there was probably what I would consider eyeball 6 feet of space between me and the woman that would have been sitting next to me. And she had her mask on outside, which is okay. Yeah. And then I looked at her and I sat down and we smiled. And all of a sudden she's like, "Hey guys." And we're like, "What?" She goes, "We're not really comfortable with you guys sitting there." I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, one, I was just doing the math. We're outside. You have a mask on.
How soon or later into the pandemic was this?
It was because I'm on the eastern shore of Maryland. It's and we've been open for business since the beginning.
Yeah,
like
didn't happen out there.
We're like, because I
actually went there to get vaccinated early because they had too many vaccinations. They would have thrown them away. Right.
We were doubling up before you had to. We were just like, let's might as well getting back in line. But it was probably in the summer. If it started, I had just moved here. No, wait, that's not true. I moved in here October, so it was probably around October, November.
Okay,
right when I first got here.
I feel like by then people were loose.
We had gotten through we're all gonna die. We should wipe down everything that we touch, and our groceries should wipe them down. And
I remember in April, like trying to hold my breath walking through the grocery store, right? Because you really thought that if you walked in there, it was like Chernobyl, right? Like you walked in, you had to grab all your stuff. It was like that shopping cart rush, whatever that game show, where you're running around, and there's nothing really to get, right? Like you're getting organic macaroni balls, right? Like just like whatever's left on the shelf.
Smash and grab, just get what you
just
get. That's what we're eating.
Because like in my mind, it was like, we're not going to have access to food for a month. Like we just need food. Like forget taste. We need to stay alive. It was like stay alive mode.
I was in the city before I moved, right when everything shut down, and I just remained. I just felt like, okay, there's this level of I need to be responsible, but at the same time reasonable. And I don't. There was no reason at times. Like I didn't understand. I still don't understand why. Like a bartender has to wear a mask, but I don't have to, and we're 2 feet apart from each other. And maybe it's the amount of people he or she is exposed to. I get it, but there's times where I just don't understand certain aspects of this. But if it makes us feel safe and we can get through it, and we're all going to get the cold, and we're all going to be, some of us are going to be fine. We should have probably protected certain aspects of our population rather than other aspects of our population. But that's maybe another thing that no one cares to hear about. But I don't know, just being on the Eastern Shore was weird, because I would come back into the city and just be taken aback by how different it was, because we're so spread out over here too. I think it was another thing that we didn't, it seemed like everyone around here was reasonable, and it wasn't politicized. It wasn't like fuck mask. We were just like, well, we're so spread out, like, and there's so.
But I never understand the people who mask shame. Like there are times where I'm out and like I see someone who's wearing a really ugly shirt, or like a really ugly sweatshirt, or their hair's bad, or their socks suck, their shoes suck. You know what I'm saying? Like there's bad dressed people everywhere. How is it wearing a mask different? It's just the way that you present yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I can't imagine walking by someone and saying like, ugh, look at no socks with those sneakers. Like to me, that's what someone's saying. Like, man, why are you wearing that dumb thing? Like to me, it's no different than making fun of someone's socks.
And social media doesn't help, because then again, like you and I have always said, like everyone has a megaphone and everyone has an opinion. But to me, I always thought that I think we're losing the fabric of who we are, because from a health perspective I thought it was about choice, and it was about like what I want to do and what makes someone feel safe. Hey man, if you want to drive in your car with a mask on and no one else is in your car, and that makes you feel safe,
right,
knock yourself out.
Who cares?
Like who cares? But if I choose to stand outside and not wear a mask because I'm outside and I feel like I'm following at least some of the guidelines and some reason.
Right. You're not breathing down their face.
And some woman walks by me like I'm literally the plague and just, pulls back. Well, then it's made us all weird. Yeah. And I hope that we get back to being good weird rather than bad weird. But you know what I mean? Like Americans are weird, and we're strange people because we don't have a common thread. We're all walks and shapes, and we're all trying to get along. And the only time we get along is when we beat up on the other guy. Like when we have a common enemy, we're all great and everything's good. But the minute we don't have a fight, we're just like, now what do we do? Well, we should fight each other. You know what I mean? Right. We're fighting people. So we had this pandemic to fight. And we had that, but it still didn't. Yeah,
you would have thought. You would have thought that, right? It would have been everyone against that, but you would have thought it'd been everyone against that, but somehow it didn't. No. I don't know. I don't want to go politics. This is season 2 politics. Should we do season 2 politics? It would be awesome to hear our takes on politics, because I know so little about anything. I also literally like it would just be misinformation after misinformation after misinformation of me just assuming that that's what's going on. But dude, I know nothing about politics.
And get ready, because all the fact checkers are going to be like that. 1/3 of the Japanese people are not left-handed. I'm like, I don't know. It sounded good.
Good. What's funny is that one of our highest rated, most downloaded episode from last season was titled Steely Dan. Do you remember that one? Yeah. We started on Steely Dan and then we talked about whatever. And there were some comments on that one, which were amazing, because it was just like, 1 star. This was supposed to be about Steely Dan. It's just 2 assholes talking about whatever
body wash.
Like, right. Body wash. Right. And then you're just like, yeah, like, oops. But I start, we should just title every one of these
Harry Styles
things that people would search for. Right. Like no one's going to search for a body wash podcast. No. I don't think. Right. We'll talk about
if they do. I want to go meet them.
Yeah. But if we title it body wash, no one's going to search for it. Right. But if we title it, maskless, or wearing mask outside podcast, and then it's just about body wash, like more people might show up there.
I'm in.
Should we just make all the titles things that are searchable?
That's why I was kidding with Harry Styles. Just put Harry Styles on it, and people would be like, we'll have all these teens like, wait a second, these are 2 old gray-haired dudes talking about body wash, and they're not even talking about body wash.
It's so good. I'm excited. That's gonna be a fun thing. At the end of every episode, maybe we'll talk about what we're gonna call it.
What's the title gonna be?
Yeah, and it will have nothing to do with that.
That I think that where we've got
'Cause
not
it's
gold. I don't know if it's gold, but we have
it's search.
something.
It's
Yeah,
we're gonna make it very searchable. Like what's in vogue that we can, like
you and me. Like I don't know. The
I don't know.
Olympics is that? But we'll find some, as they call it, clickbait.
So
We'll figure out something.
so you do use body wash?
Yeah, like so I'd use both. What I was trying to get at is I use soap
Let's try.
and body wash
Before my detour.
and I use a different hair like shampoos based on what I want, why I want a shampoo. I'll get there in a second. Let me unpack that.
Dude.
But like I like different types of soaps and I like to smell certain and different ways. So I'll use different type. I like if you look at my shower, I have like all these different soaps. And what I find funny is that all is just soap. But why is there a soap for your head, but it's not for your body? And then you have body wash, but don't use that on your head, but you probably could.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Thank you.
Big soap.
Big soap.
Yeah, because
they're making us buy. Right.
Big soap knows that there's just could be one product that has the same kind of scent that just oozes out of whatever factory it is. And you can package it in the exact same packaging, right? You can have a bar of it. You can have a jar of it. You can have a tube of it. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And it works on everything. It's body wash, shampoo, regular soap.
The 3-in-1, they're at least being transparent. It's like the 3 different soaps in one soap. It's
what are 3 different soap? You mean like shampoo and conditioner? Like
yeah, shampoo, conditioner for body, and like it's just for your entire body. I thought of you the other day, and I was like, big soap, big dishwasher detergent is on. Did you see this commercial where they're fucking?
But how is big dishwasher detergent not the same as big soap? How if you put body wash into the dishwasher, are you telling me it's not going to get rid of any of the bacteria?
I put a laundry detergent pod in my dishwasher because I ran out of dishwasher pods, and I was like, a pod's a pod.
Yeah,
my dishes smelled really good. Well, they smell like laundry, but it worked.
It's soap.
Yeah, it's soap.
Like if just to freak people out, it'd be great to take a bottle of body wash and just and put it next to the bathroom sink, or like the kitchen sink, like instead of like a soap dispenser or just shampoo. Mm-hmm. So when people come over your house to go to the bathroom, they go to wash their hands, it's shampoo. Yeah. You're like, it's soap. Like, this is shampoo. No. Yeah. It's soap. It's soap by a different name.
Hands. Shampoo for your hands.
Yeah.
So have you seen that commercial where they're telling people to run their dishwasher every night? And it's couples, and then it's like, we do it every night.
Yep.
Every fucking night. Detergent. That's big dishwasher detergent. The water people must be like, are you crazy to run your dishwasher every night? Like you have, okay, just say it's like and there are 2 people. So there's going to be 5 plates, 4 plates, a couple glasses, and a couple utensils every day.
At the most.
And that just shows why we're assholes, why Americans are assholes. Is we're like, run your dishwasher every day.
Who could be behind that too? Big appliance.
Big water.
No, big appliance.
Big appliance.
Because you make a good dishwasher, right? It could last you 20 years. I've been in my house 12 years, and like we probably get another 10 out of the.
You're onto something. They're like, let's wear this thing down.
Yeah. So like a good dishwasher is going to last, 15 or 20 years, but you run it every day, it's down to like 4.
You're whittling it down. Yeah.
There could be some secret meeting room where big soap, big water, and big appliance are all sitting around like, we can, if we did this thing together, like the dishwashing people, they probably have less money than the appliance people, and certainly less than the soap people. So they're probably, look, you be the front of it because no one will suspect anything.
Right. No,
if it comes from the dishwasher,
you're just
liquid.
Soap.
Right. And if it comes from big water, we're irresponsible. And if it comes from big appliances, then we know why you want to do it, right? So let it come from the cheapest, easiest to get people, and they'll be mowing through this stuff in no time.
But again, you and I are in marketing and advertising. So that was a focus group. Hey guys, we're going to go in a different direction. we need to really sell more product. How do we sell more product? All right, just throw it around the room. Let's throw it around the room. And there was one guy and he's like, I don't know. Let's make people like do dishes every night. And they're like, yes, wait, keep going. Keep going. Right. And you know, someone was like, and all of a sudden that guy's now vice president.
Yeah.
He literally just said out loud, why don't we just make people like wash their dishes every night?
And like, I love the search for the science behind it too. Right. Like they probably commissioned some study that was like, well, yeah, if you wash your dishes every night, it's going to be better for the dishwasher and for the dishes, you know, like that research was done.
But you know, someone in that meeting also yelled out, let's make people eat more.
Like all the rejected ideas.
Hey, shut up, Todd. No bad ideas.
We don't want them going to the grocery store and spending it on food. They need to go to the grocery store and spend it on dishwashing detergent.
It reminded me of you and a podcast before when we were talking about big blank. There's always the big something manipulating us. But I was like, big dishwashing detergent. That showed a level of excess of who we are. Because, you know, when you've been to Europe, everything's tiny. Now, they might run their dishwashers more often because everything's literally small. The refrigerators are small. Everything's small because they're market shoppers. Like if you go to Paris, we rented my ex and I, we rented like a flat with a couple other couples, and everything was tiny, which I found funny because the refrigerator was so small that I was like, well, what can you fit in this? But then you realize, oh, you're outside more and you're out in Paris more. You don't need all this space. You're market shopping. You're shopping every day. We're Americans. We have humongous refrigerators. Our refrigerators now talk to us and tell us when they need more stuff.
They surf the internet.
Is anyone putting these things together? Like I'm like, it's just all like, again, conspiracy Johns, all of a sudden it's all connected, man. Like it's big shopper. It's big this, getting the big refrigerator guys all being like, Bob, you need more milk. And oh yeah, I guess I got to need to get more milk. Yeah, I don't know if he needs more milk.
And what's amazing is like milk did a media buy behind the fridge to tell people they constantly need more milk. Like that's how they advertise now.
And everyone's cool with it. Like no one shames that. No one's like, I don't think we need our appliances that have AI in them. I don't think we need appliances that have opinions. I don't want opinions from my toaster or my microwave.
There are people who literally still to this day don't have Easy Pass. And the reason why they don't have Easy Pass is because they, quote unquote, don't want the government or people knowing where they're going or what they're doing up to or what they're up to, right? But in their house, they have like 30 different things that are plugged into the wall that are literally staring at them. Like right now, I'm on my computer camera, right? There's someone in some room somewhere who can tap into this real easy and just sit and watch what's going on here.
But I always said, like, I was just like, well, I don't want the government, you know, looking at my phone. I was like, well, what are you doing?
Right.
And why would you care? Unless you're like learning how to make bombs, like even if the government looked at my phone, they're probably like, okay. And they're not going to waste the time with that. They're going to go after the bad guys. And I don't think we're that bad guys, but that totally reminded me of a conversation. You came out one time and said, people who don't have Easy Pass are dumb. And I was like, I don't have an Easy Pass.
You really don't?
No, I do now, but I didn't then. And you were like, I could tell, like, all of a sudden I went down like a little notch in your like world. Cause I was like, wait, John doesn't have an Easy Pass. I was like, I don't really need one. Now I need one because I'm going over the bridge.
If you use it once a year, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
If you use it once, it's worth it. Forget even a year.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't cost anything. I once had a good friend, shout out KD, and I'll never forget. And this was like 15, 20 years ago. This is like before things tracked you, right? Like, cause I could see way back then, it's like, I'm a little bit weird about being pinged, right? But now you're pinged everywhere you go anyway, right? It doesn't matter. Your cell phone is going to be more accurate than an Easy Pass anyway. So he once said, he said, I know, I will always know for the rest of my life that society has a long way to go to develop until Easy Pass has 100% penetration rate. Once Easy Pass has 100% penetration rate and everyone has one, I could probably safely say, okay, we're as a society, we finally come there. But as long as there are people who don't have Easy Pass, there's going to be flaws. Did I lose your audio?
No.
Oh.
Hold on. Oop. Fuck. I just forgot I had a meeting. We're going to have to do this. Sorry. I'm so bad. I apologize.
That's awesome. Well, you know what the beauty about doing video and this is that I can just snap my fingers and we can cut.
Yeah,
and then we can come back and finish the conversation.
Okay,
So,
I'll be right back.
Just like that, we're back.
And we're back.
That's the magic of having a producer. So far already on our podcast, which we swore would be the same format as last, we have video. We've thrown out a word, which we said we'd never do. We talk about anything, and we now officially have one edit.
An edit, and that was my fault.
Yeah, but that's also the problem with being available 24/7 is like you have meetings all the time. You don't just think about because meetings now come to your house.
Yeah, they just show up.
So I don't even remember where we were because John went through an entire meeting. and I've just been sitting here. Like he took off his headphones. He
knocked over water
out of the way, and all I saw was just him nodding. Yeah, and I'm like, are we doing this? Like, am I supposed to go somewhere? Should I am I waiting? Am I watching?
Smoke them if you got them.
We were talking about body wash.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We were talking about Harry Styles.
God, I got so sweaty. Yeah, Harry Styles. Back to Harry Styles.
We're going to call this Harry Styles. I think, you know what we should do? Harry Styles, then in parentheses, body wash.
Body wash. And that, so many clicks.
So I had body wash once. My wife got me like a 4-pack for Christmas, I think. And
it's a lot of soap.
Yeah. For someone who doesn't use body wash. It's a lifetime of body wash.
Was it like Act? That's body spray.
But you know what it was? It was Ben Sherman.
Oh.
So it was like a clothing manufacturer, right? They make shirts and like what turned in their company before, like when they realized that they want to jump into the body wash game?
Getting that. Let's get some of that money.
Like, did they start seeing shirt declines and they start saying like, well, I guess all the people who would wear a Ben Sherman shirt have one. What do we do next?
Yeah, they have dermis.
Do we do orange juice? No. Do we make, outdoor furniture? Like what, like to me, body wash is just as arbitrary as saying like Ben Sherman makes shirts and patio furniture.
Right. Mulch.
Yeah.
Ben Sherman mulch. I mean, right. It's sort of in the phylum of stuff, like, lifestyle brand, if you want to call it that.
Maybe. Like
Tom Ford, he has scents and eau de toilette, and I'm sure he has body wash. He's expanded his brand, but I would expect that from like something like that. I think it's weird when there's soaps from companies, like you said, that you would never expect, like Marlboro. Maybe they would have a soap.
Right.
Remember the Marlboro
smell like a pool hall.
Regret. You're going to just smell like regret. Yeah. I mean, imagine like certain brands were like, we should come out with some soap. I'm sure they had soap in the 70s or something like that. And then all of a sudden they're like,
they brought it back. Or they bought a company that was going out of business that Ben knew the person who was going out of the body wash business. And like, we'll buy it. Throw a name on it. We could
eventually, when this thing, gets really big, I think we get in the body wash game. Because all we have to do is white label it. We just like Ben Sherman's not making soap. Someone's not making soap. Someone they found made soap.
Oh, for sure.
And they just put their labels on it.
So basically, let's no longer waste time. Let's body wash.
Let's use body wash.
So anyway,
how much body wash do you go through? Like that's 4 bottles.
It's a 4-pack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on the first one. Like it's in the shower. But here's the thing. I'm a newbie and it's been there like a year. I think I got last Christmas, but I'm a newbie with body wash. So I don't do you just apply it by just oozing it into your hand and rubbing? Is that it?
Good question. It's a very good question.
No, I'm serious. Tools. It's a legit.
I'm about to answer.
Okay.
There are 2 sets of people here.
Okay.
There are those that use a washcloth or some sort of loofah, and there are those that use their hand.
Okay.
And I think there is that distinction of some people will use like a loofah or like one of those things that apparently is bad for you anyways, because it just sits around with bacteria on it. But I don't know.
Like
I'm
a
not
big
scared of that.
sponge. Is that
Yeah.
what a loofah is? Like a shower sponge?
Or a washcloth. And you put some in that, and then you just go at it. But again, it's dealer's choice. Like, you know, like how much you're going to use, how often you use it. Like, remember when we even said, like, in the summer, I take a lot of showers. I'm probably like a 3 shower a day.
We've talked about it. I don't know if we podcast
like,
about
I'll
it.
shower after I work out. I've
I know
showered
we've for sure talking
workout.
about that. Yeah.
I've showered before working out.
You've had 4 shower days.
I've had 4 shower days. Yes.
That's insane.
When I was training for my fight, I showered a lot because I was working out all the time. So
right.
I just felt like I constantly, and again, I like showering. So it gave me an excuse to just, all right, well, I have to go shower again.
So, you know, one change for me during the pandemic is I went from every single morning, no matter what, I was a morning shower guy.
Mm-hmm.
That shifted literally during the pandemic to I now, even though like things have lightened up a lot, I shower at night. I don't shower in the morning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is I would just, you know, when you're working from home, I would just wake up and then walk into my office and get in front of the computer. I wasn't getting ready to do anything. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, and I probably didn't even shower the first day. I'm like, I'll just take a shower the next day. And then the next day I woke up and I went right to my computer and I'm like, man, I haven't showered in like 36 hours. I'll just shower tonight. So then I showered that night. And then the next morning I'm like, well, I just showered at night. Then I go through the day, I'll shower. Then I wake up, I showered last night. So I've literally turned from morning shower to night shower.
An evening shower person.
Yeah.
I've gone as much as I've said I like showering. I've gone like a day without bathing and just be like, oh, I'll just kick it to the next day. But I've also like, I used to wear suits every day, and now, you know, sweatpants. I bought a lot of joggers, which is a new type of sweatpant. It's like a tapered sweatpant.
You know what would be amazing is one day you find out that big sweatpants was behind the COVID virus.
Yeah.
Like, or we're just gonna, like, if we can somehow create a quarantine, sweatpants sales will be through the roof.
Yeah. And Zoom was behind it. Maybe there's like a big quorum and they were like, all right, well, we need to scare these people a little bit.
Yeah. So everyone was always like, it's the vaccine people, it's the big healthcare companies, it's the big pharma companies. Like, everyone thinks that this whole thing was just a way for pharma, you know, big farm, to make money on vaccines. But they're overlooking the people who truly profited, right? Like the sweatpants industry, the Zoom, the Zoom video conferencing industry,
right? And they
Peloton.
At least we had and have Zoom,
right?
Think about if this thing hit when you didn't have it, and then they would have had to make some really hard choices. Because when I said the laptop population was protected, like, we kept our jobs, we could do it. We proved to employers that we could do our jobs anywhere, any place, anytime. And that, remember when you had a job and you wanted to like work from home on Fridays, and you had to work there for 5 years to prove that you were a valued employee and that you could just be trusted to like take one day off and work from home. And it seemed like like a benefit rather than, let's work with you on your schedule. That ship has sailed. Like, this proved to, I think, to employers, well, we're probably going to get more out of them because there's nothing to do and there's work, so they might as well do it. And we can now monitor them. We know their productivity. We know what they're doing, what they're not doing. And we're all just like glued to our laptops. So the laptop sector was like protected in a way. We're like, okay, those are fine. And then the people that weren't protected were like, well, who's going to bring us our food? You know, they were just like, those people, you know, and like, who's going to protect our sick? I don't know, those people. Like, there was like a whole population of people that were just like, sorry, you're going to have to keep doing it. The rest, you know, of you guys, it is a blessing. Inside.
It is a blessing and a curse, though, because, you know, we can be more productive at home, right? And the workforce has proven that. But now all of a sudden, there's like this blurred line between work life and private life. Like when is
Mhm.
private life, right? Like I remember there was a shift when, it was work from home, work from home, work from home, work from home. Then pretty soon, by like the second month, it felt more like you were sleeping at work, right?
Right.
Because like that's you were working and then you just went to bed.
Yeah, but I see it because you haven't worked for someone in a long time. Like you've owned a company for a long
Yeah,
time.
it's been a long
And
time. Well, we all answer to someone, John.
yeah, I know.
But
But what
yeah,
I'm saying is
yeah,
that
yes.
your name's on the door and has been on the door for a long time, where I've always worked for somebody. And when you work for someone, you kind of make a deal with them. You're like, we're going to hire you, we're going to give you money every 2 weeks. And for that money, you are going to come in and do these things for us during this time. And then there's going to be times where that boils over into maybe we're going to need you for a couple hours here, a couple hours there. But there was sort of a contract, like we need you from 9 to 6 or whatever. You know what I mean? Now it's, and once you have that programmed in you, you do want that separation. But then I've looked at work differently. I completely see work as I do things when there's work. And then because we're sort of in the creative business, the strategy business, I could be working at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like wagging my finger at the owner saying, oh, you took advantage of me. And so my blurred line is okay. Like I'm okay
Right.
with it because you could be at, no offense, but you could be at your daughter's soccer game working. You could be thinking about something, or you could be like,
Always happens.
just like
Yeah.
solving a problem, but that's you working. But I think we made this huge stigma of, you know, people just working all the time. Well, if you like what you do and it's ingrained in your life, I can see if you're, you have a wife and, kids and you're at your laptop, just like clicky clacketing, and then you're just shoving food, you're not present.
Right.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is the 9 to 5 thing is, I don't think it exists anymore.
No, it doesn't. And that, that,
I,
that,
you
that
know,
that's my point is that a good thing or a bad thing? And, I see both sides, right? Because
yeah,
believe it or not, there's a lot of people who have wives and kids, right? And who aren't then present because they're constantly, because now there's an expectation. There's now an expectation. Remember when it used to be like if you called someone after work hour, like 7, you were like, I'm
hey,
so
I'm really
sorry. I didn't mean
sorry.
to bother you. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. This is really important. Now it's like you get calls at 10:30 at night and there's not even an apology. It's like, hey, I was thinking for that thing, and you're just like, what the
Mhm.
fuck, man? Like I don't have 2 seconds to just sit on the couch.
Yeah. The other side of that, though, what I was just thinking about is when when you I guess it's where you are in your career also, because I like the freedom that somewhere someone, again, I'm going to go on a tangent, somewhere said 40 hours is literally
Right.
the standard of how much we can work someone. And that's probably post industrial revolution. Like, let's just say, like, after Mad Men on, they were just like 40 hours seems where we're not taking advantage of people. And that's probably when we're non-unionized employees. We're like, okay, we're 40 hours. I don't know why it's not 30. I don't know why it's not 50, but they
Right.
reached something. Someone smarter
Nine
than
to
me
five,
said,
Monday through
someone
Friday,
said that,
9 to 5.
which is interesting that they're like 9, which is not even a real thing, to 5, which is not an even a real thing. We just made these standards.
Right.
And then we said, in that time, we need you to be productive. And in our business, and like other businesses where they mark up labor and they charge for labor hours, you have to be productive for a certain percentage of those hours, say billable, for your 40 hours. I think eventually they're going to shift to not be hours, but tasks and things you are responsible to do. So the hours are then thrown out of the door. And how long it takes you to do a quality thing is how long it takes you to do a quality thing. If it takes you 5 minutes to do a logo because you have so much experience, well, then it takes you 5 minutes. But if it takes you 5 hours and it's the same product, well, that's on you as the worker. But I don't think I think we're eventually going to switch into a place where we no longer care about our employees tracking their time. We worry about employees tracking their output.
Do you know why that will never happen though? Because big timesheets will not allow it to happen. big clock punch or whatever.
Right.
When you punch the clock.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not gonna stand for that.
But when you're wired, like I'm still wired, that I feel like I have to start working at 9 o'clock. Even though I don't, I would start working earlier.
I've never started working until about 10. I'm not a morning person, John. I don't know if you knew. I kind of got. I don't know if you knew that about me. You know what's funny is like when we were working together, you used to have breakfast with a lot of people you used to work with, like mentors, friends from other works. You'd be like, I'm gonna be a little bit late. I have breakfast with Todd, right? And then like 2 days later, you're like, oh, I had breakfast with Steven this morning. We had this great conversation. Like you do breakfast a lot, right?
Yeah.
I thought about this, when we reconnected and said, we need a podcast. I said, in the, I guess 3 years maybe that we haven't been working together, you've never once asked me to breakfast, and
because I knew you wouldn't want to go.
That's what and that's what I told myself. I'm like Marsh. Right. Marsh keeps in touch with so many people that he works with, and it's always through breakfast. All of them are through breakfast. I'm like, this Steven guy, this Todd guy, this Freddie guy, this Elizabeth gal, they all sound amazing. Do you ever get a drink with them? Like, it's always breakfast. And then when I connected the dots, I'm like, why am I not part of the I want to stay in touch with him breakfast crowd?
Well, it's breakfast coffee. You go get coffee, and then there's happy hour people. Well, there's happy hour people and there's breakfast people. I actually got that was when I was working for the government and in politics. Those people, and I almost did those motherfuckers, those people love breakfast, love having breakfast meetings. And they're at like 7 a.m. They'll be like, let's meet for coffee at 7 a.m. and, kind of go over some things before we have to go to the thing. I was like, 7 a.m. Like you have to be up, suited up,
right?
Drinking coffee with someone.
Are you even hungry at 7 a.m.?
I'm not. I never really.
Is anybody?
Yeah. There's, I have a friend, very, very, one of my best friends. He loves breakfast.
I have to remind myself that not everyone sits on the couch and shovels down entire bags of potato chips till 1 a.m. So like if you have dinner and you don't snack and you go to bed at 9, yeah, you're hungry at 7.
But I've learned I go to bed a lot earlier now than I used to. But I also feel like I get up in the middle of the night and I have like some time where I'm not sleeping and then I sleep. I'm asleep in like 2 stages, sleep 1 and sleep 2. And in the middle is this time where I'm not sleeping. I should try to be more productive during that time. But, we could podcast during that if you want to at 3 o'clock in the morning. We should start doing that. It's just like at different hours and see how we are. Like, let's have a podcast at 3 o'clock.
Didn't we discuss once that we were going to do the drunk podcast?
Yeah, we were going to drink while we did it.
Which I'm sure is super original.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's done that. Yeah. Again, that's another good thing to talk about. Well, another one, and I want to run past you, and people are going to be like, "Oh God, switch." I think we should watch something separately, and then come back and talk about it.
Like a show, like a TV show.
Yes,
I thought you meant like propose one, like elephants made at the zoo. Let's both watch that and talk.
Paint dry. No, a show, and we both watch it.
Okay,
and we both. And just one episode, maybe, but maybe it.
Do you know why that's brilliant? Because it plays into, if you look at some of the most successful podcasts, they're like show reviews,
right?
Movie reviews. Like, so if you and I watched the show out of nowhere and reviewed it, yeah, we'll go from 25 to 30 in no time.
I 25. Oh, or we should listen to songs for the first time together and react to them. I don't understand those videos where people are like
videos.
2 African Americans watching a Radiohead song and they're like, and you're like, who? And then they have 57,000 views. Right. And I was like, what? We're watching someone watch a song. And they're like, maybe, or someone will be like, okay.
So
Okay.
we should watch a movie for like we'll be live while the movie's playing. And
No,
then maybe we can put the movie down like
right.
underneath it so that you could
I
you know what?
propose.
I'll be honest though. I don't even think that sounds fun to do.
Here's the
I think
show.
what's that?
You ready for the show?
Yeah.
On the History Channel.
Okay, I get that.
It's called Alone.
It's called Alone.
Alone.
It's a series.
8. There's 8. Yeah. What do they call it? There 8 seasons.
Oh,
And they're about 12 episodes per season.
Okay.
It's genius.
I was gonna write it down as though this isn't being recorded.
Right.
I'm like, don't forget.
Because
Alone, is it?
Alone.
Okay. What's the
And
premise?
so they take 10 people that are professional survivalists. And
Okay.
it seems like they basically just asked people, have you been outside lately? Yes. Would you eat this or would you eat this? And they're like, I'd eat that. I'm like, okay, good. Do you want an axe or a knife? I'll take an axe. Great. Now we're going to put you by yourself. So they take 10 people that are professional survivalists, which I still haven't figured out the criterion on that. They put them in an area. This one's in British Columbia. And they're about 10 miles apart from each other. So they can't interact with each other. They're never going to run into each other. And whoever stays the longest wins $500,000. And they tap out by calling on a phone and being like, get me out of here.
I love that they have a phone.
Yeah. And
so is it like Naked and Afraid? They're not naked, right?
They're not naked.
Okay.
They're afraid.
Because I remember that show.
Yeah, they're definitely afraid, but they're not naked. And they have to film themselves. So Naked and Afraid has like, a guy with
crew.
a boom. Yeah, a crew. Just eating a Snickers bar.
Like after a couple of days of not showering, they're like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. They're
like
eating
a sub.
Yeah.
And this
like
guy's
sushi,
like
sushi.
Yeah, this guy's just drinking his own urine, and he's just got this big 2-liter bottle of Yoo-hoo.
Right. like covered in like the bug spray.
Yeah.
Like
he's got
no
one of those huge hats, and
this mosquito net,
a tent. No, they film themselves, and it's just, I was fascinated by it, and I said, God, I'm sure there's a podcast about it, but I would love to see your take on it. So your homework,
okay,
is to watch a couple of season 1.
Okay. So maybe not next episode, but eventually we'll do my review. Oh no, it's our review. Like, I'll tell you which episodes I watch, and then you can watch them, and then we'll talk about them.
Yeah, because I've only seen season 1. I'm starting season 2, and I saw season 6 because I stumbled upon it. I thought that was season 1. And those people seem professional. And then I watch, the first seasons, like the first season of like Real World, they didn't know. So they're like, I don't know. And then, the second season, like, you just watch the first season and just do it better. This was season 1. No one knew they knew what they were doing. They knew like, these are the rules and this is what you have to do. But I'm sure even the producers were like, okay, maybe we need to fine tune this. We need to tighten this up a little bit, because like, okay, I don't want to ruin it for you, but it was a shit show.
No, I dig shows like that because I am the furthest thing in the entire world from a survivalist.
You would never know. You know.
No, I know.
I agree with you, because knowing you,
I was gonna say like,
but you don't know what you're capable of.
True, I believe that, but I also believe that there is a scale of people who don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And
these
still
people are
making everything is relative.
These people are making tents and stuff that I would never know how to do. And they were like, this is how you skin this, and don't eat that and eat this. That's the stuff, the survival stuff. But if you were dropped in the middle, I don't think you would just tap out and be like, all right, well, I'm fucked because I'm used to being indoors. You would, your survival instinct would be like, all right, I'm going to try to survive.
Like even Hanks in Lost tried to hang himself, right?
I
remember the tree limb broke.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. And he got way further than I'd get. I wouldn't even survive the crash. There's no way I would have swam out of that. Yeah. That my movie probably would have been about 8 minutes. Me saying goodbye to my wife, me at the bottom of the ocean.
There would have been no ball. There would have been
No. Oh, no.
Wilson. No,
Nope.
no Wilson.
For sure, no. But
Yeah.
but to your point, I would do better than I think I would have done.
Yeah.
I agree with that, right? But if you took 15,000 people and put them in the same situation, I might still tap out first. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So I'll I'll do better than I thought, but so will everyone on Earth. So my baseline for survival is just small. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I always thought it was weird that for Naked and Afraid, that show, that they always put them in these environments that were isolated.
Yeah.
It's like they never put them in like Haiti, in Detroit, like that. Talk about afraid.
Yeah.
And you're nude in Detroit. Okay.
What? And like there's a camera crew walking around with you.
Yeah.
Is also weird. You know what? Here's, I forgot. I'm glad I remember this because, we had talked about breakfast, and there's breakfast people and there's coffee people. Coffee people. I'm like, yeah. When
Our proud sponsor.
When you mentioned that, I'm like, here we go. Here comes the plug. And then you kept going, and I'm like, oh my God, he's so bad at this. I'm like, how did he was talking about, we said in the beginning, work it in organically. And I was so proud of you for bringing up coffee people and breakfast people. And then when you kept going, I was like,
there it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, just open the door.
When's this boomerang coming back? And it just never did.
I didn't
went through a window.
You know what I love when I was having my meetings? Kicking Horse coffee.
Yeah. Kicking Horse coffee is
brewed Kicking Horse coffee.
When am I going to get to try it?
When your shit shows up. My shit already showed up. So thank you, Kicking Horse coffee. I'm
Kicking Horse coffee will make you kick ass in the morning. Is that the tagline?
Yeah.
What does that say? I can't even read it.
No, it says like kick ass and drink coffee and kick ass.
Okay.
So this coffee, the 454 horsepower, dark, velvety, earthy, spirited.
I like their look, by the way.
Yeah.
It's sort of like this Black Ops, like we're going to like wake up militant and just get you going in the morning.
This smooth riding dark horse conjures up powers from the depths of the shadows.
That's me when I wake up.
Sounds like a Zeppelin song. No, was that Nights in White Satin? Like I feel like I'm reading. Remember the part of
the poetry part of the Moody Blues?
He starts reading a poem, and you're like, "What?" It's that. So this is why people either love this podcast or don't. When was the last time you heard that song?
Nights in White Satin? I don't know. I mean, I do listen to classic rock station.
It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
It is beautiful. That song, I got all like a little verklempt. Like I was like, oh my God. This song is amazing. But then he's like, dig deep. Like he starts like that part. I was like, okay. Like they could have taken out the poem part.
Right.
But it's such melodic and it's such a beautiful song. Another thing I've been listening to, and I suggest that like all of our listeners and you listen to The Wall again.
Oh,
Pink Floyd's The Wall.
We just went through this because my youngest daughter got the Dark Side of the Moon Prism t-shirt. So we started bringing up like old school Pink Floyd.
Roger Waters is a genius.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't get the credit I think he deserves as one of the top, I don't know where to put him, creative musical influencers of a generation. Like he just did this thing where I think he's about to go out on tour, and he did one of these. Like he did a Zoom show where all of the instruments were in different, all the instrument,
right?
The band were in different rooms and shit.
It was a Zoom concert,
all of them,
right?
Yeah, a Zoom concert. But he played a bunch of Pink Floyd songs that were broken down. So there were like more piano, and it was just beautiful. And I forgot like how good those songs are. Mm-hmm. But like I listened to The Wall again, in its entirety, didn't stop it. And I was like, what an amazing piece of music. Almost like, again, people are going to, I see it as again, and we say it's a rock opera, but it's almost like a movement from Bach or Beethoven. It is a long story. Yeah, it's a long story, but each song is different and each song kind of goes to the next song. But it's just amazing. Like, again,
is it a rock opera? Like, is the wall, do you consider that a rock? Like, I always thought, like, for some reason, I only think of Tommy, or like Quadrophenia as I don't know what defines a rock opera.
Concept albums.
A concept album for sure.
Yeah, I would consider it a rock opera because it's literally telling.
But then, like, is side 2 of Abbey Road a rock opera side? Like, there's records that are meant to be played, and that's one thing that we can do. I might as well just write down on a piece of paper, but music and where it's gone wrong.
The Wall is all from the Pink Floyd, the character's perspective, even when he's on drugs and like all that stuff. So I think it is like a first person narrative rock opera. Put your comments in the comments section of the YouTube if we're wrong. But I think I would say it's like Quadrophenia again, like Tommy.
But then there's like Springsteen has characters, right, who go through, like, the same people in Born to Run and Thunder Road and Incident on 57th Street, like the Wild, the Innocent, and the Street Shuffle is sort of connected, right?
I don't understand. Well, the Decemberists, they did a rock opera type of album that literally one song goes into the next, and it is a linear narrative that I think they've done one. And I'm sure there's a bunch of them that we're not even thinking about.
That's the
you
worst.
Would think more people would come up with them.
That's the worst part about the digital music age is that now everyone's just looking for the single. Like like creating an album, putting out 13 songs. Like, now people just, we write a song and sounds pretty good, Fred. Boom, out, right? And people download it, and for some reason they're happy. But
because if it's Run Like Hell was a single, like, okay, Another Brick in the Wall was the single,
right?
But it's out of context,
and it wasn't even the single so much as like it's the one the radio even played. Like, I don't think Waters was walking around being like, you got to hear this song, like it was an album. Then the DJ went home and listened to the album and was like, okay, Comfortably Numb and Another Brick in the Wall and Run Like Hell are the most like radio friendly of it, right? But to your point, and there's songs too on that they'll play where if it doesn't go right into the next song, I get all spun out. Like when they play just one of, like, the most famous example of that, at least for me, and this just probably just happened a month ago. I've never heard it before in my life until about a month ago. Was Led Zeppelin Heartbreaker into Livin' Lovin' Maid, right? On I think it's Zeppelin 2. Like, those two songs are joined at the hip, right?
They have
it's sort of
play,
like it's like We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, right?
It's
like
super jarring.
Heartbreaker and Livin' Lovin' Maid are attached, right? So I was driving home, it was after work, and I'm going and I'm listening to Heartbreaker on a rock station. I'm jammed down, and it's like Heartbreaker, and you're getting to the end where it just stops. Where the party, and it goes right into Livin' Lovin' Maid.
It's a beat, and then it goes right into the next song. Yeah.
And like, so in my head and like in the car out loud, I'm doing that. And then like Tom Petty came on.
Ooh.
And like my
Did you wreck your car?
Body got weird.
Yeah.
Right. Like the whole, like it was so jarring that like it penetrated every inch of my being. Because it's never, in 49 years, I've never heard that happen. And it was weird and then of course, me, I get into my head. I'm like, what else would give me that reaction? Right. Because it was that jarring and that big of a surprise that I melted down.
That's a big one.
Like, my brain glitched.
I was listening again to I forgot how much I loved side 2 of Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti.
Yeah.
It's so good. There's not a bad song on that side.
No.
It's just, again, maybe, but again, Nights in White Satin, I have no idea why I thought of that, but I was listening to it the other day and it came up and it was, so I have Sonos in this house and I have a lot of the speakers, so, and I just cranked it up. I was like, let's just do this. And I wanted to see how loud this thing could come. It was such a beautiful song. And I recommend everyone get in their car, because cars are actually the best place to listen to music, I think. With the windows up.
Yeah.
Because it's such a contained, it's funny, when I was in a band and we would record, when we would then take a tape or they burned a disc and then go listen to it in a car. But it's going to sound different in a car than in, say, someone's room or someone's house. But the car is the best place to go. All right, maybe the drums need to be louder. Maybe there's too much guitar. And we would just literally go and sit in our guitar player's car and listen to the song, go, okay, that sounds all right. And then we go back into the studio. But awesome. It was such a weird process because we're like, this is the best place to listen to music if you think about it, because it's insulated and you can make it as loud, almost louder than it should be. And have you ever been, and you've probably done this, where you're listening to music so loud and then the next day you come in your car and you're like,
yeah,
right. And it's so loud that you're like, how the fuck was there not blood coming out of my ears?
And it's like the DJ talking. It's not even like a song that you're like,
it's the weather.
Yep. Oh, I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah. So that just shows, like, I guess, how adaptive your ears can be. But yeah, I was back to, I don't even know what we were talking about, but Nights in White Satin. It's such a beautiful song.
All right. Well, maybe I'll tell you what. We'll wrap this one up.
Okay. And I'm gonna go listen to Nights in White Satin.
We can throw something into the hat about music, because then we'll call that one Harry Styles Part 2. That way people
have you listened to Harry Styles? Because you and I, okay, real quick, I know you're wrapping up. Remember you and I hated that we loved the Harry Styles song?
Yes. Yes, it's so good.
I still listen to it. There's another one of his songs that I love.
He is so talented.
I hate that I love. And he's a handsome kid.
He's handsome. He's probably really nice.
Yeah.
I heard him on Howard Stern once, and he was like so open about like mental health, seeing a therapist, dealing with fame. And I'm like, fuck this guy. Like, he's just doing everything right.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
The voice of an angel.
I wanted to hate him. And then we had, for our viewers, listeners, you came into work, I think, and you were like, have you heard? And your daughter's like, I played this song. Have you heard this song? And I looked at you and I was like, almost embarrassed. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And we played it in my office and we're like, oh, I hate that I love this song.
It's so good.
And it wasn't even like one of his, like, it was his like Elton John song, Sign of the Times.
Yes. Yes.
It's so good. It's a good song.
All right.
But didn't like 6 people write that song? There's like 6 people in the writing credits on that one. And then I'm like, really? It took 6 people to write that?
So we found his Achilles heel. We can make fun of him for not being a songwriter.
No, I think he's a performer. He does something right. It's like Taylor Swift. Like, there's a couple of her songs that I think are just so good, but I hate that I like them. But
she's really talented.
She's super talented. And like, who am I to say? I'm sitting here in my dorm room, but
talking to me.
Yeah. But like, we love music. And I think you are a huge fan of music, where I was more of like, I'm a fan of music, but I played instruments and was in bands. But like, when you see these acts that aren't part of your generation, you're like, oh, Taylor Swift. At first when I heard it, I was like, it's just like a teeny bopper music, and like, ugh. And then I listened to, she was
pretty country,
a couple of her songs, and I was like, that's a really well written song. That's a really good song. And then she had a couple come out, and then fucking Bon Iver is like singing with her, and I was like, oh, really? And then I listened to them, like, they're so good.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna wrap this one up. We'll see what we can add to the hat from a maybe guilty pleasures.
If our producer was smart, he would take us out with some Nights in White Satin.
Yeah, there we go. All right. See you next time.
See you next time, man.